Okay, I forgot that I was looking at the delayed timer.
Excellent! That's exactly how this needed to go, and welcome! If you're new here, my name is Brenna. I am your Never Needs to Retcon DM, and welcome to Tales from the Catacombs. This is our tabletop RPG adventure that we are thrilled to share with you. This game uses the Dungeons&Dragons 5th edition D20 system and rules, and the setting is a homebrew based off of the rock album Razia's Shadow by Forgive Durden. We have a brief introduction to the setting that you can read at your leisure, and I hope you will, so you can be as immersed in the world as our players are. Without further ado, please enjoy this episode of Razia's Shadow, a 1,000-Year Interlude. Let's recap. Session 16, Different Perspective. Jeremy the Acolyte left the downstairs office of Saker's Keep with the box housing the crown, and the head celebrant followed shortly behind him. Snow took a few minutes to examine the room and discovered a false wall. Before he could figure out how to get past it, Beau warned him about the commotion above through the mind link. Upstairs, Beau failed to intimidate or reason with the leader of the squad, claiming to be the Peace Watch, and a fight ensued. The Novices fought hard for a victory, and Ste'yn made sure the head of these bandits stayed alive for questioning. Before that could happen, Snow saw the deaths and stormed off in disgust when he wasn't given a satisfactory answer as to why they had to die. The others caught up with him and shared their perspectives on what had happened at Saker's Keep, learning that they may not see eye to eye on everything, but that didn't mean they wouldn't look out for each other. And Snow could put words to his resolve to stay with these growing friends. Ste'yn touched base with Lear, and Snow and Beau continued the conversation about whether or not to kill, and dipped into Beau's history with magic. When the four reunited, they went to the Novice Command offices to find Moonridge, and shockingly, found all 4 Novice emissaries. Bria told them that Captain Nora was awake, and the emissaries were escorting them back to the rally district. So, where we are. You've been told that where you are headed is back to the rally district to see Captain Nora, who is apparently up, whatever up might mean. Unless there's anything left over that you guys needed to do before you made your way, then you're gonna head on out. Was there anything else you needed to do at the Novice Hut in the Novice Command? All right.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I wasn't sure if we were already on the road because she was basically kicking us out the door.
She was pretty much saying, like,
Let's
we're on our
go.
way. So, fantastic.
Hit the
I just wanted to
road.
make sure. Just wanted to make sure. So, you guys make your way out of these little halls in the Novice Hut, back through the Wild Pike, and down the now very familiar route, heading towards the Rising Gate to the south. As you guys arrive, Vaughn very quickly walks ahead towards the coach house, where there is a man standing there that you have not yet... Well, you've seen him once now. He has this long red hair. He has this very handsome look about him, but still there's like both a weird softness and kind of a gruffness. As he and Vaughn are talking briefly and he looks in your direction, you can see he has these light brown eyes, kind of a slightly upturned nose, and these thin lips. The two talk briefly, and as you get closer, you hear that Vaughn is asking him about preparing a wagon for all of you. Everyone give me a perception check.
Ooh, this is
Starting strong?
the strongest I think I've started. Perception?
Uh-huh.
It's a dirty 20.
Hey! Viola, we can't hear you, my love.
Story of my life. I got a 23 though.
Whoa.
I picture her being that aggressive when she's looking around.
I'm gonna see so hard. To a 20,
I got a
23.
total of 12, but it's a natural 1.
Oh.
Of course, the one time Ste'yn does not good, Viola does wonderfully.
Yeah, that sounds like the story of you two.
I also have a total of 12, but I rolled a 10, not a 1.
Somehow that feels better. So, Beau and Viola and Snow, you guys can see that the man that Vaughn is speaking to, he's nodding along, he hears the request, he's prepared to go about it. And you guys notice that someone peeks their head out from the stables, you guys see that familiar dark cloak pulled over his head, the little bandana or wrapping over his face. You see Sazian kind of bundling out a little bit, pokes his head out. Looks like he's prepared to start moving towards you, but immediately the actual stable hand, he snaps his fingers towards Sazian, shakes his finger, and then Sazian nods quickly and in his hunched over way goes back into the stable. As this man with the red hair approaches you all and he nods at you, he smiles and it still just feels very gruff as he's smiling, but he smiles at you all and nods. It's good to see you in better condition than you were in. I'm Darmin. I run the stables here.
Did we
Nice to
meet
meet
before?
you.
I was here on your way back the night you were coming in very late, looking much worse for wear than you do now.
I guess I wasn't paying much attention.
I couldn't blame you, but it's good to see you up and about. And now let's see about getting you a proper vehicle.
Is that gonna take a minute?
Oh, you have vehicles?
Proper transportation, I should say. Pardon, I come from a part of the world where everything just feels like it needs to be fancier than a taxi is. And he turns back to you, Viola. It shouldn't take long at all.
We're gonna have the standard horsepower.
Yes.
Viola's gonna look
Singular
at
horsepower.
Viola's gonna turn and look at her friends really quickly and be like, do you guys think I have time to run and see Buttercup really quickly?
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, that's all Viola needs. She takes off in the direction of the hall.
Oh, there she goes. Okay, so you go inside to see Buttercup, while Darmin is now going into the coach house, and he is very swiftly preparing your carriage. Inside of the stables, you're just beelining over to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Sazian is in there. He's actually in the same place you had seen him the first time, just working on something or other in some corner of the stables. He turns only for a moment, whether you see it or not, and then turns right back. But you get to Buttercup's stable, and it is empty. Her pen is empty.
Sazian, do you happen to know where Buttercup is?
He turns to you in your direction, but his head is down and he is hunched. He nods his head. She's with her trainer. They're preparing her to be better suited for travel.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know if you've noticed, but I formed a bit of an attachment to her, and I was just coming to see her before we go on a short little trip, and so I didn't see her, and I got worried for a second that she was gone. But I guess I'll get out of your hair then, Sazi, and I hope you're having a wonderful morning so far.
He just kind of nods his head. Yes, it's fine, thank you. And she'll be back probably in just a few hours.
Well, it was nice to chat with you too, and hopefully the rest of your day is more than fine. And she'll smile at him and then turn to leave.
You assume he doesn't catch your smile because his eyes are still just down at his own feet. But he does, again, kind of nod his head. And then you head on out. In short order, this larger carriage is prepared. This one has some bench seating properly, as opposed to the last time you guys made your way to the rally district. There's some separated bench seating. You are offered assistance to get up into the carriage. The emissaries sit up front. Vaughn and Moonridge sit side by side. Bria and Rochelle sit side by side. And there's plenty of space for the four of you towards the back.
Oh, so when you said up front, you don't mean like they're steering, somebody else is
No,
guiding that part?
Actually, that's a very good question. These are the details. These are the
It's a
details.
magical.
That's why it's a vehicle and not just a carriage.
It's kind of like a lift deal.
Let's say that due to the circumstances, Vaughn is happy to take the reins with Moonridge beside him. He did fine before.
Just hopefully a chicken won't get in his way.
He's not the chicken. He didn't hit the chicken.
That's what I mean.
He should have hit the chicken.
Yeah. Hopefully he won't be overcome with indecision and just stop halfway there.
We'll see how well he does.
Since you're going towards Nora, maybe he'll be different than leaving Nora.
Maybe he'll go faster.
Okay, maybe.
One can only hope.
So Vaughn and Moonridge are up front. Moonridge is beside Vaughn, who is steering. Behind them are Bria and Rochelle. And then you guys are sitting and it's definitely spacious back there for the four of you. Up front, as you guys are traveling, it's not a long distance. It's a couple of miles. But Moonridge and Vaughn appear to be in some discussion, as do Bria and Rochelle. You see, because they're right in front of you, every now and then, Bria has this large bag. The strap goes across her chest, and the bag kind of sits on the seat beside her with her arm resting on it. And every now and then, while they're just talking, she'll pull out some scroll or other. They look kind of crumpled, as if she just kind of mashed them in there. But she'll pull one out, she'll open it, she'll look it over with Rochelle, and then when they're done with that, she'll stuff it back in, and she's very quickly able to pull out another one. And she does this a number of times along the trip while they're talking, and Vaughn and Moonridge are further up. They're not doing anything particularly special other than moving the cart along. If you are interested in hearing what they are saying, I will allow a perception check. If not, we'll move right along. But I feel like it's important to give you the option.
Ooh, I got a nat 20.
Viola
my
got a
gosh.
6, so she's probably not hearing much.
You're thinking about Buttercup.
Not gonna lie, there were tears forming. If Buttercup was gonna be gone,
My first thought was off to the glue factory.
That was where
They
my
didn't-
head went
they
to.
didn't make
the
the
way,
cut.
boxer.
It's like, please, no. They couldn't get the crown sold, so they gotta make money somehow.
You know? Are you the only ones rolling? You two?
No, dirty 20 for me.
Okay, a nat 20, a dirty 20, a 6.
No's not paying attention.
Excellent. I love it. Beautiful. Thank you for that. So yes, Viola's off in her own world, probably thinking about Buttercup, but don't let me assume for you. Ste'yn, you can definitely hear what Bria and Rochelle are talking about. They appear to be going over some notes maybe they were given, some orders maybe they were given, and it appears to be pertaining to the Peace District as a whole and kind of where the novices are involved in some area or other. And then you hear them put it into some kind of context of the upcoming unveiling tour. They seem to be discussing points about what areas will be available or closed off to novices and things that they'll have to discuss whenever they have their next assembly, the first one you guys were in attendance to, so this gives you some kind of insight as to how they sort of plan these orientations and these assemblies. And you also kind of overhear Bria saying something along the lines of, I hope Captain Nora will let me come along when all the touring is going on. That would be so great. They continue their discussions. You overhear a little bit of what's going on further up. Moonridge and Vaughn talking about the Harvest Lamps Festival and the unveiling tour. Whatever it is that they're talking about seems to be something very physical, because Moonridge is making these very sharp gestures as he does. He that you guys have assumed is very into fighting. So he's making these very sharp gestures, and you can kind of assume that much. Beau, you can make out very clearly that they appear to be talking about additional training around not just the unveiling tour, but also the Harvest Lamps Festival. They are talking about training for the Peace Watch and how they sort of feel like, well, Moonridge certainly feels like he should be involved with some of that training, and he wants to talk to Lord Eonvor, who is the chief of the Peace Watch. Whereas Vaughn is just very quiet. The most talking you've heard him do so far has just been to Darman. So as you guys make your way, you see the familiar wall leading into the Rally District. You guys head towards that northernmost gate again. And it's sort of a direct path down not an alley, but a street, heading directly towards the command residences and passing by some nice housing on the way. Just a residential part of the district. The carriage stops as you guys approach those familiar sort of townhouse style homes, and you stop in front of the home with the plaque that reads Isalin, E, and you're able to get out of the carriage. Vaughn, again, without saying much, makes his way to the door. You see him kind of hold his hand up to it for a moment, and then he waits for all of you to approach to catch up to him.
As we're walking up,
And
Ste'yn's gonna, oh my gosh, Viola.
I speak for Ste'yn now.
this is
I'll
what
allow
she's gonna
it.
do. Let me tell you.
Viola's gonna reach back into the gap where her chest plate and the plate on her back meet, and reach in and grab her journal out of her waistband and pull it in front of her, flip it open real quick, grab the paper that she got from Torval out, and then put her journal back in her waistband.
Okay, so you're holding on to the assignment you were given.
Also, during the trip, can we say that Snow was writing the entire time? Writing a
Absolutely.
letter?
Were you purposely trying to keep it private, or you were just going ahead and jotting it down?
Well, I was actually going to say, with the nat 20 perception, would he have Beau
looking at
seen
me.
any of his writing? I mean, all he was doing is listening. He wasn't looking at them.
Yeah, I might allow a small peek. You were not purposely focusing on him, but it is a nat 20. I might allow teeny peek.
He probably would have been bored after, like, reading 2 words anyway. But,
Probably.
My dear sweet, I'm done.
yeah, probably.
He couldn't even get through a letter, like not even a letter, literally a singular line of prayer. So
Yeah.
that tracks. That tracks.
True. Yeah, so it starts off, my beloved nerd. So would Beau
Yeah,
have
he
kept
probably would have
reading?
stopped after reading that.
That worked out very nicely.
Oh, baby.
Probably would have done an eye roll, too.
Beautiful.
So,
Perfect.
As they get off the wagon and start approaching the door, Ste'yn will subtly hold out her hand to Beau in case he wants to take it to get through the ward on the door again.
is there a way of subtly taking it? I was picturing him just like patting somebody on the back as they were going through to make it seem more casual than hand holding. Yeah, he'll kind of like make sure that he's walking through with Ste'yn, I suppose, in some capacity.
Okay, so as you guys get closer to the door, Vaughn opens the door. He walks through, has the door held open, and gestures for everyone to go inside and just wait in the living area.
Oh, actually, before he would do that, does he sense it as he's approaching? Just because I'm just curious if it's still even active, because it's a different day.
It would be as you were approaching, it would be as you were crossing the threshold.
Oh.
That's when you felt it.
I thought there was times where he just got close and you could feel that it was like getting there.
The time that I said that was because that was more of a dread than I think actually feeling the actual sense of the arcana, I think. But no, I mean, if
Snow
so,
couldn't sense anything.
yeah.
But you also aren't affected by it.
If so,
Still
as you're
arcana.
approaching, yeah, even if so, as you're approaching the door, you don't feel anything. As you're approaching the threshold, is that fine for him? Does he continue behind Ste'yn?
Have all the emissaries already gone in?
Moonridge has gone in, and Rochelle has gone in. Bria was taking the rear.
Okay, then he'll just be cautious then, and he will go with the plan A.
Okay. And as you are touching the back of Ste'yn's armor, subtly, maybe you're just like, oh, we're a little bit squeezed in a bit. It's fine. You cross the threshold. You do not sense anything as you cross the threshold. And Bria comes in, and then Vaughn closes the door, and he's already been gesturing towards those couches that were over to the left for you to sit and wait. You guys take a seat?
Snow
Do they have
sits down
paint?
for like 5 seconds and then gets up and starts walking around.
Do they
That's
have
what I
things?
figured.
Do they have things hanging?
It's pretty sparse, just like before. There's only 2 things that are actually like on the wall. There's 2 small framed certificate looking things.
Okay, he's thinking because I was thinking about the hole that he put in the wall.
And you know exactly where there is a small divot in the wall.
Yeah, he was
That
thinking about
nobody else
moving a
is looking
picture
at.
there now that she's awake. Just kind of.
You can see through an open passage to the dining area. There's paintings in there, but they're pretty big.
And stay.
house
You
is
still
kind of
don't know
quite
any fixing spells?
No.
Okay, never mind.
Do you need something fixed?
No, thank you.
Are you sure? I'm sure if you need help, we can. If I can't do it, we could go back to Seiko's Keep. I'm sure Gawara would be happy to help you.
No, it's for the house. And he points at the hole in the wall.
The whole.
Remember
The
last
less attention
time
you
we were
draw
here?
to it, the less attention will be drawn to it. That's
What
how
do
you
we
get away
know
with things,
about
don't
her
you know?
husband?
And while you guys are having this small conversation, Bria has unceremoniously dropped herself into one of the seats. In one fluid motion, she drops and then very politely crosses her legs at the knee while she's waiting. Rochelle, kind of in her garb, she always kind of looks like she's floating about as she glides, so to speak, over towards an empty seat and sits. Moonridge does not sit. He stands behind one of the couches, and Vaughn makes his way upstairs.
So everyone that's sitting, couch-wise or seating-wise, How many of the seats are in view of the stairs?
2 are in view of the stairs.
And people
the
are
2
sitting
longer couches. Bria sat herself down in the kind of single seat that is not facing.
Okay.
Rochelle is sitting to her right on the furthest side of the longer sofa. So she would have view of anyone crossing over to the stairs. Moonridge is behind her, and then the other seats are available to you. There's also 2 rocking chairs on the other side of the room next to what appears an instrument, like a harp, but most of it is in view of the stairs.
Well, Beau sees an opening where no one's looking. He's gonna try and sneak up the stairs. Where one of those 3 aren't looking.
Okay, give me a stealth check.
Oh, are they not looking right now?
They can be.
Well, that was the stupid
Life
because
is
well, you
happening.
mentioned that they were all doing things on the carriage, so like he was looking to see like if they're still going through bags, going through stuff, and if there was a moment where they were having their eyes taken off. He wants.
They're not doing anything nearly so specific at this point. They assume that things will continue pretty swiftly. Like Vaughn seems to have gone upstairs to go inform the captain that y'all have arrived. So, Bria and Rochelle are talking amongst themselves. Moonridge is just sort of waiting, and he, every now and then just nods at you guys, but otherwise he's not paying super close attention. Maybe there's a point where someone gets his attention, like one of the other emissaries. So,
Ste'yn will go
then
stand by Moonridge, behind the couch by Moonridge.
okay, and he would greet you and say that he's glad that you're doing well.
Is that the
No, you
equivalent
go
of a
ahead, roll.
help action?
No, unless she does
have to
doing it
ask.
specifically. Yeah, are
Huh?
you telling her to go talk to Moonridge so you can
Well,
go
no,
sneak
but if
upstairs?
she is distracting him.
She's not doing it to try and help, though. She was going to do it anyway.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, just go ahead, roll regular.
Alright, regular, it's a dirty 20.
Okay.
And then if I add a psionic die, if it's needed, that'll bring it up to a 23.
You don't need to die. You take the opportunity, as the 2 ladies are talking amongst themselves, and as Ste'yn approaches Moonridge and he turns to her, you take your opportunity to make your way up the stairs. Ste'yn, were you saying anything to Moonridge in particular?
She would ask him, can you remind me again what language it was on that slip of paper that we showed you from the hovel that we were at?
Oh.
You understood it. You knew it. You said it wasn't important, but you understood it.
Oh, yes. Oh, that gibberish infernal and garbage language. Yes, it was infernal.
Right. Thank
Don't
you.
tell me you have interest in anything like that.
I think when it comes to dealing with things both dark and light, there can be a reason to learn the forms of communication or understanding needed to adequately assess situations for oneself and not rely on the translations of others.
That's wise. That's tactical, using your brain. That I can appreciate. But don't go digging too deeply. You don't know how it might warp that brain and make it much less tactical, much more like the language itself, just oozing with dark and unnecessary things.
Indeed, care must be taken when
Why did
dealing
you
with the
learn
dark.
it?
For the very same reasons. Simply, it's part of education. When you're learning to handle the dark, then it can be prudent if you're capable. And I was doing much fighting against dark creatures, and some of them speak in such a way, so I should be able to make sure I can fully assess what's going on, and then I can kill those things properly.
Did they ever speak back? Have you ever had a conversation with one?
Oh, I don't take time for conversations with dark things. No, certainly not.
But some of them are intelligent enough to speak.
Oh, not Midnight Beast. No. I mean, people who have availed themselves to the dark. Those, they can speak, but I have no interest in what they have to say.
So glad Beau's not downstairs right now.
We call that fortuitous.
You don't think there's value
Is
in
there
learning
anything-
from your enemy?
Oh, certainly. I can learn quite a bit. But at the same time, those types of enemies, I have no need to know anything about them except how to remove them from being problems for the light.
Interesting perspective.
Thank you.
It wasn't a compliment.
Oh, then I apologize that you're misguided in that way, but you're here to learn, and if there's anyone who can teach you more, we have plenty of tutors to do so.
I've been doing fairly well being self-taught myself. I'll continue in that regard for now. But I know if I ever do need a teacher, it won't be good to you.
Were you saying something, Snow?
Actually, no, never mind.
What is
Then
Viola
we'll-
doing down there? Is she just like hanging out?
Viola found a seat and she just has opened up her assignment and is just reading it and rereading it and rereading it.
Putting little hearts. Okay.
Is there anything magical in the room?
Are you using detect magic?
No, he's just looking around, see if there's anything that looks to be enchanted.
There's nothing.
Basically,
stand
Snow is
out.
bored and he's just going through her stuff.
Oh, so he's actually just walking the perimeter of the room.
Yeah, no, he's walking through the room. If there's anything out, he has touched it. If there is nothing at all interesting in here and it takes too much time, he's gonna go into the next room.
Sure. The downstairs is composed of just the 3 rooms. So the large living room, and then to the right, the top or the back room would be the kitchen, and then the front would be the dining room. There isn't much, like, it is a sparse room. Everywhere appears to be relatively sparse. If you're looking around, you just see those 2 documents that are framed on the wall, and you can see in the kitchen there actually are a few bundles of things in the kitchen that, if you are curious enough to open up, it's just different packaged foods. They look like care packages. And then in the dining room, you can see a single place setting on the table. It actually looks like the dining room is starting to kind of collect a very, very small layer of dust. There's a singular place setting, but the main feature is there's this cabinet that has a lot of dishes in it. Most are pretty plain, but there's one set that is this very elaborate, beautiful china set. And what dominates the walls, or the wall, which would be the wall of the outside front of the house, are 2 portraits. One is very clearly Captain Nora, and the other appears to be Captain Elakin. He looks much more normal. It's not the same kind of exaggerated features as that wedding portrait. It almost doesn't look like the same man as you're looking, because they were just so exaggerated in the other portrait.
Snow suddenly remembers that upstairs there was something that looked like the Dark Shard up on a shelf, and so he's gonna go upstairs to grab that.
Are you stealthing upstairs, or are you just walking?
No, he's just going.
If you're just going, you would hear Bria calling out, "Just wait a minute, and Captain will be down in a minute."
Yep, all right. He keeps walking.
Oh, Snow, come on! And she'll get up and, like, follow you, and if she has to, like, grab the back of your cloak, like, she will if she has to, but she's more, like, half pleading, like, please just keep this simple.
I'm not gonna bother her, it's fine.
Out of respect for her,
I'm not even going in her room.
don't go through her house. Downstairs, please.
He's still walking.
You're gonna make her put hands on you. If she has to, like, she will physically, if she has to, either blockade or take your shoulder or something. She will physically stop you if she has to. Like, half bleeding. Do you want to do an opposed strength check? We can do this thing if we want to.
If Viola sees that happening and sees that she's struggling to keep Snow downstairs at all, then she will help.
She's going to assist. I love it.
If needed.
Ste'yn's just watching with her eyes rolling.
How do you do?
So if I'm attempting to escape a grapple, is that essentially what's going on here mechanics-wise?
It would be attempting, to avoid being grappled in the first place.
Alright, so to escape a grapple, you can use acrobatics or athletics. Can I use acrobatics?
You may.
That is a 15 for mine.
Which is not enough to her 25.
What?
She's a strong girl.
Cutting words.
Wow.
Do I
She's strong.
spend a spell slot to give her disadvantage? That's the question.
You.
No, he's not. He's not quite that curious.
Okay.
He's not worth the spell slot. Fine.
So she'll have, like, tried to, like, put herself at the top of the steps before the last bend. Like, please, I don't even get to stay here long. Like, can we just say hello to her and then go out?
What's up there that you're afraid of me seeing?
It's not your house.
I've already been there.
What?
I've been everywhere. Travel more than you have, I'm sure. I've seen a lot of things.
Well, that's all well
Think
and
there's
good.
anything up there that I can't see?
Of all people, I wouldn't expect it to be you to just walk into someone's house and touch things. I thought you were more polite than that, Snow. I've heard a lot of things.
Well, I'm also bored, so that's another thing to learn about me.
You can hear the door, or a door, upstairs opening, to which Bria will very much insist that you go back down the stairs. Like, she will very, very much insist. Are you still resisting her?
No, he'll go downstairs and then leave the room and go back to, like, the dining room or kitchen or something.
Fair enough.
As
Whoa.
Snow's leaving the room, Ste'yn's going to call after him. And happy birthday, Snow. I forgot to tell you earlier.
Oh yeah, thank you. I was a little insulted you forgot.
When Viola hears that, her head snaps at Snow and says, "It's your birthday?"
Yep, that was the day y'all decided to kill people.
Snow.
Viola's not looking at Snow. She's not saying a word back to Snow.
That was harsh.
She looks back to her note.
You can't see him at this point, he's out of the room.
Beau, let's get to the good stuff. So you make your way upstairs.
So
Were you going?
First, he was going to listen to the door, and then he was going to make his way to the study. So by the time that they would have come up, he would have been already in the room that Snow is going towards.
Gotcha. Go ahead and give me a perception check from outside the door.
It's a 21.
Oh my. Okay. You can overhear just some very brief conversation, as if it's the tail end of a conversation. You hear a voice you haven't heard asking, "All right, are you ready?" And you hear Captain Nora responding. There's a kind of very heavy sigh, and then an inhale, and then another slow exhale. "Yes, all right." You hear Vaughn interrupting briefly, saying, "Captain, if you're not actually up and ready to move," and something cuts him off immediately. He stops talking. You don't hear much else, except a couple of, like, gentle, steady, okay, and, like, kind of encouraging words, and maybe the creaking of some floorboards, as they appear to kind of start to move.
Okay, so at that point, it would be when he moved over to the study. First, he's trying to see if there's been anything that's changed since they already ransacked it once, if anyone went in there and either tidied it up, or if there's more things that seem out of place.
Give me an investigation check.
All right, that is a investigation, you said?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that is a 21.
Another 21.
And it could be a 27 if I add psionic.
You don't need to mark it.
Okay.
So you look around, and it does look like the room has changed some. Some of the books that were on all the previous books that were on the table before are now on shelves. It looks like this room has been used very recently, but the table is cleared. The other tables are clear. Chairs are pushed in. Everything looks like it was kind of put back in order.
So at this point in the room, is he now hearing what's happening in the hallway?
I think Snow had done a little bit more looking around. I'll allow, if there's more you want to do, I'll allow like 2 more quick things if you wanted to. Snow got 4.
So nothing was added to the room from that roll that I just did? Like he didn't notice anything added additionally?
I will say you see some of the shelves, so like where they had put the books back on the shelf, you see a couple of scrolls that are also like kind of sitting in the space between the next shelf up and the top of the books. You see a couple of those scrolls like that.
And they weren't there before?
They were not.
Okay, he's gonna look at them then.
Okay. You see what appears to be maybe a map of some kind, but it's not labeled with any names you recognize, almost as if it were coded. But it's mostly, the most standout thing about it is that most of it just appears, it's almost like someone poured ink on it to just make a big smudge of darkness on the map. There's a couple of other spots that are circled with little squares inside of them. One of them has like a red point on it, and it's just not well labeled, anything that you can quite grasp on first glance.
Okay, so besides the map, what was the other ones?
The others appear to be notices. They appear to be written to someone with orders. It all feels very militaristic. It all feels like commands given. These tactical commands for maneuvering, for hideouts, for gathering places, things like that. It looks like a very tactical instruction.
None of them are particular interests? Like none of them stand out?
The only things that jump out, just glancing at it, you see mention of the Scarred Mountains. You see, it appears to be like maneuvering into the bands of dark.
Is there a name of a dress on any of these? Like, can he tell if they were things that were specifically for Nora or if they were specifically for her husband?
These are from Captain Elikinasam.
Oh, they're from. I really wish I had keen mind now. So after that, I guess he'll probably roll them up. Oh, actually, so the one that looked like it was coded, you said it looked coded?
That like map-looking thing?
Yeah. Is there a
You know you want to.
Well, is there a candle in here?
Yeah.
Okay, he's gonna try lighting it and then holding the map up to it, seeing if it decodes anything. Just like not burning it, but some messages could be revealed by fire.
Heat activated.
I almost want to make you roll for that to make sure you don't burn it.
Well, he knows how to hold a piece of paper.
He doesn't have good history with fire, does he?
Or dex checks in general.
Yeah, this is a controlled
It's
candle.
very easy to do, though.
I won't make you roll it this time.
Because it doesn't work, does it?
You think that maybe something else is part of it.
And so, was it that it looks decoded because it's like blacked out, or is it like the names don't register as any kind of names on a map or anything like that?
It's more because you get that sense more because it otherwise looks like a child's drawing, and why would someone have this child's drawing with all the other very tactical and warfare oriented books on this shelf?
Okay,
You get this sense about it.
He's gonna start like trying to mimic it and mimic it down, and he'll be interrupted and probably stop and start putting it away once he hears the commotion on the stairs. So
Okay.
I don't know how much he'll be able to get down before then, but that's what he's gonna be doing up until then.
Roll me a d6.
I got a 4.
You get like a solid 4 minutes of all this nonsense going on to start mimicking.
Oh, 4 minutes for a
map.
kid's drawing is pretty good.
Yeah, 4 minutes. You start with the dark part and you're like, oh no, I can do the other more intricate parts first, and and you kind of assume where things were on the dark part before you then start to hear Bria pleading with Snow to just go back downstairs, please. And then shortly after that, you hear the door. Well, you may not hear all that.
So he's
Yeah.
gonna, well, when he does hear the other door open, he's actually planning to go up and stand so that way if somebody were to come into the study, he'd be behind the door when it's opened. So he's aiming to like go like that.
So you hear the commotion, and then that's when you start to leave the study.
No, he's not gonna leave it, but he's gonna position himself
Go
in
to the
case
door.
somebody, because he doesn't know if somebody's gonna walk in. So he's gonna hope
Okay.
nobody does, but in case they do, he's gonna stand behind where the door would swing open.
In
Where-
case they
yeah,
open it.
correct.
You stand in your hidden spot. And downstairs, Ste'yn and Moonridge were chit-chatting for a moment. Bria and Rochelle were chit-chatting. Viola was doing her thing. Snow came back downstairs. Well, I guess Bria was ushering Snow back downstairs.
Snow goes into the kitchen, and is the fire in there lit?
It is not currently.
Is the door to the kitchen closed, or is it just like an archway, or what is it?
I believe that's a doorway. It was closed and you opened it before when you went in. So it's up to you if you closed it
Okay.
after yourself.
Yeah, I let it close, and then I go to the fireplace. I take a handbook out of my bag and I place it there and use prestidigitation to light it. And then
Okay.
as soon as I do that, I use minor illusion to make it look like that didn't happen at all,
Okay.
just in case somebody comes in and wonders why you can hear crackling flames. For the next minute, everything looks and sounds normal. Well, it looks
Excellent.
normal, I guess. I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, just as the flames are beginning to like fully consume this handbook, you hear footsteps coming down the stairs from inside of the kitchen. And everyone in the living room, you guys can see as Vaughn is coming downstairs. He kind of keeps his eye out behind him as right behind him is Captain Nora. She's wearing that blue leather armor that you had seen her in previously. Her hair is pulled back in that telltale ponytail, keeping this long white hair out of her face. Her skin is back to her normal like kind of olive tone, and you don't see any of that streaking, you don't see any of that darkness on her at all as she comes down, hand just kind of trailing along the railing. And when she spots the group in the living room, she pauses and she smiles. You're all right. It is such a relief.
Does she know Snow's alive? Because she doesn't see me.
That's true.
She sees everyone but me.
She
Should
What
have
if she
told
thinks I
Beau
died?
either, right?
Don't note
It's
that
just
pretty
Viola and
quickly.
Ste'yn right
Yeah,
now.
no, Beau
True.
needs to plan his way
That's-
down still.
So
Like I have
she
an
knows
idea,
that
but
half the
it's
room
not
is
gonna
okay.
be. I have an idea for how he's gonna get down, but it's not gonna be easy.
The girls alone survived.
That's all that matters. Who
Girl
rules
power.
the world? It does seem to take her a moment to kind of register. You're not all here. And she immediately looks at Vaughn.
We were all here.
We all came here.
How curious.
Viola
Hey.
will holler out, Snow, Beau, you guys in here
Snow is
somewhere?
making tea now.
Snow
Snow
gets
likes to
bored.
turn invisible sometimes, so he could be running around here invisible.
Hold on a moment. Snow, you're making tea, huh? Okay.
I'm making tea, so they can probably hear that now from the kitchen.
So there is so you do see there are a couple of other items in the pantry, but it's otherwise sparse, like the rest of this house seems to be, except for like those little care packages. And there is, in fact, a bag of tea leaves there. You just go ahead, you see them, you're like ready to go and start making tea.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
you
I mean,
make-
he's gonna smell them first and see if they smell good. Like they're, I don't know.
oh, they
It
smell.
doesn't seem like it'd be good.
They do smell
Okay.
good. They also smell very familiar, like the tea leaves you had delivered the day before.
He's gonna make tea.
Okay. So you start making tea. Captain Nora begins walking towards you all, and she is looking about. You said you all arrived.
Yes, Captain, we did. I don't know where Beau went off to, but Snow gets bored. He's probably poking into something. To apologize for that.
I hope Beau's not planning to sneak up on me again. And she says that you do note that she has her holsters are on, and she does have her dagger on one side, and she does have her firearm on the other side.
Is she wearing the flower crown that I left for her?
She is not wearing it.
Though it probably would have been dead by now. 'cause
Rip. Yeah, it only lasts 24 hours ish.
She
That
just
isn't
wakes
to
up and
say
these
it's not
wilted
upstairs.
plants are on top of it. Just
There's like a single petal like got left behind on her shoulder or something.
So when they went downstairs, did Beau hear 3 sets of footsteps going down the stairs?
He heard 2.
Well, that's concerning.
I like making things accidentally difficult.
So, well, then he's not going to leave this room, but he is going to open one of the windows in this room to crawl out of it.
Good luck.
He's
getting back
aiming
inside.
to go through the one that would be facing, like, as I don't remember which I know that he was able, like, I want to say that the side where Nora's bedroom, it was the back of the house where her bedroom was, or was it the side?
No.
It was the
The
side.
Side of the house.
Okay, so he's gonna go to the side of the study that is the back of the house and open up
Okay.
that window and then crawl out of it and
There's
then.
a window on that side.
I think it
yes.
only has windows on one side.
Oh, I see something that
Yeah.
looks windowy.
I think that's a bookshelf.
That's a
I don't know what the bigger thing is. I
portrait.
think maybe
My
it's a
image
picture.
is this big, so I'm doing my best.
The back wall has bookshelves and
Let
portraits.
me just put this thing in roll 20 and be done.
Oh, there might be one in the little gap that's next to the bathroom.
Oh, you're talking about where the toilet is?
Yeah. See how there's one right next to the toilet? It looks like there's one opposite the toilet window.
Yeah, but he would have to
That's
leave
in
the
the
study.
study.
He's concerned because he knows that there were 3
No,
people.
there's one in the study
Oh,
on
there
the
is?
wall that's opposite from it. There's like
Oh.
a little weird gapping
Yes.
alleyway thing.
Yes.
The gap,
Okay.
yes. So
Thank
there is
goodness
a
for the
window
gap.
on that side. Yeah,
I just don't know if that's the back of the house or not.
it is. So
Well, a gap
where
is
that-
inconspicuous anyway, so.
as you are looking out the window to see, you can tell it is the walkway towards the
Wait.
the garden. in
Are
the
they
back.
two windows facing each other? One for the study, one for the bathroom.
There are.
So they are
why
never
not?
far apart.
Precisely. This is ingenious design, guys. Don't even laugh.
All right, so he's gonna open up
Look, the
that
fire
window.
codes demand weird things. It's okay.
Beau, as you go out the window, give me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, so it is there. Which of my dice feel lucky? Ooh. All right,
If
that's
you
gonna
get blown
be
out the window, you
a.
have to come back inside.
That'll be a 17.
You
Okay.
crawl out the window and you feel this, like you feel like all the hairs on your body are standing on end, but you are able to spider climb your way through it.
And I'm able to
without
close
being
the
blasted
window
off.
on my way out. The perfect crime.
Yeah, you can maneuver. You can kind of.
Okay, now phase 2 of this plan to try and open and go through the back door.
Okay.
Not
We
this
need to get
again.
back in one way or another. So we
I
made through
know.
one barrier.
No, it's fine. Yeah. So you want to open it stealthily so you're not seen?
No, it's okay
Just
for
go
him to
ahead
be
and
seen
open.
in this case because, I mean, he's allowed to go out. So actually, he will try to be somewhat sneaky, I guess, in case there's backfire.
If you are attempting sneakiness, please give me a stealth check.
Okay, so for the stealth check, I've got a...
I will let you three. Well, not Snow. I'll let
So-
Viola and Ste'yn roll a perception.
That's an 18 or dirty 20 if I need to use a psionic die.
I suppose we'll
That
find
is
out shortly.
a
13.
32, 31?
What? You rolled
19
30?
plus, yeah,
A 19 plus what?
Plus 11?
plus
11.
12.
12?
How do you have a 12 plus modifier?
I don't know how
She's
she
spamming guidance like she always does.
Okay.
We had a busy day and there could be baddies out there. Guidance. Go
Say-
ahead and mark off the psionic die
Is that because of the other people?
for the others.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Not for
that's
Ste'yn.
that's who I was mainly concerned with anyway.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I let them roll, but the others I gave a
Alright, so now do I have to make a con save?
Yes, you do.
How does a 15 look?
A 15 looks similarly like the hairs on your body are standing on end, but otherwise you might kind of jolt a little bit because it's uncomfortable, but you can make it inside.
Yes.
I
The
believe
perfect crime.
You open the door and slip down inside, and you see Captain Nora, who has made it about halfway across towards the couch area, was looking about and timely sees you. Oh, good. We didn't lose all of our novices on one moment.
It's good to see you on your feet, Captain. We heard you were doing rather poorly.
I'm all right, but it's good to be on my feet.
Oh,
As
before
she's-
you have to go off your feet, we have a few things that we need you to sign, actually.
Fine.
Yes.
All right.
No
She's making her
pleasantries,
way.
eh?
Hmm?
Nothing.
She starts making her way towards the couches. Bria shoots up from her seat to give the captain a space to sit, and Captain Nora will sit. Vaughn stands behind her, unsurprisingly. Well, what have you gotten into in 24 odd hours?
Nothing at all.
Oh, has Snow walked into the room at that point?
No,
No.
he's,
Oh,
he's-
okay.
no, he's still making tea.
He's still
Okay.
I
making
assume
tea.
it'll take a few minutes. I don't know how to make tea, but I assume it takes a little while. Gotta boil water.
Boil water, tea leaves.
Gotta let it steep.
Are you guys giving her the whatever needs to be signed?
Well, Snow has the one. I believe
Oh.
he was. Oh, I think it was given to him. It was either given
Yeah, it
to.
was given to him, and then I think he
I
gave it to
passed
someone
it off.
else.
Oh, okay. You
But I
passed
don't
it
know
off.
who he passed it off
Ste'yn
to.
has it.
Okay.
Ste'yn has it.
Yeah.
Viola's waiting because she doesn't want to ask about hers first. She wants to do she's waiting for the other one to come out.
Yes, it's for a next assignment, actually. So Ste'yn will take out the paper and pass it over to Nora.
And she'll look at it as
Got the
Nora.
instructions.
Well, she holds it out, but she is surreptitiously covering Bria's signature as she's showing it to Nora.
Give me a dexterity sleight of hand check, please.
Sleight of hand. Okay.
Yes,
This is
ma'am.
not my rogue. 9.
Let's see. As you show it to her, she looks up at you. The table will be much flatter ground for me to sign. You can let it go.
Ste'yn will put it down. Let it go. She can tell that it didn't work.
And behind her, so Bria is standing like beside Vaughn. Vaughn is kind of hovering as he does. But Bria is standing over there, and she was watching the whole time, like watching you, watch Nora, watch you, watch Nora. She hears the response, and you just like watch her like flinch, and then she lets it go. From somewhere available, she has some ink that she can. She reads over what it says, sees Bria's signature, looks up at Bria. Good choice. And Captain Nora will sign this. Before as she's handing it back, you're certain you want to go out again this soon? I wasn't going to send you anywhere anytime soon if you needed time to rest.
The doc doesn't rest, ma'am.
Yes, people need their deliveries, you know.
She looks at you for a moment, Beau. Have you... She hands the note to Ste'yn. Have you changed that much over the last few hours?
I think your illness is getting to you.
He's still rude as ever, I'm
Captain
afraid.
Nora, I also had something that I needed you to sign when that interaction starts happening. Viola will butt in.
All right.
So I got a sort of invitation to train with Storkum Ians, and I would love it if you would sign it. And she passes it over to, or she holds it out for Captain Nora to take. Obviously, if this isn't how things work for the novices, or if it's something you don't want me to do, I follow your orders. You're my captain, but I would really love to train with him.
She's noticeably shocked as she takes the assignment from you and reads it over. She's looking at it for a whole minute, reading it and reading it again. She looks back at you. That is quite an honor, and unusual, admittedly.
Unusual in a good way or a bad way?
It's not a bad thing to say. It's simply unusual for a god to wish to train individually with a novice, someone who's arrived not days earlier. Do you have a previous relationship with him?
No, I've never met him before, but there may have been some circumstances that led to the invitation.
Hoping for a future relationship, though.
She nods her head. It's entirely your decision, Viola. If you wish to go about this is your assignment, and I will follow your lead if you feel you're ready. I can promise you it will not be an easy training.
Oh, I figure so, and I hope it challenges me so that way I can, make my skill set better. I mean, that's the whole purpose of training, and that's why I'm here, is to train and fight for the light, and I feel like this is going to be the biggest challenge for me, and so it will result in the largest growth, and so I really would love to take on the challenge.
Yes, maybe you'll be able to skewer 2 people on that sword of yours next time.
I'm
sorry?
Looks at Beau and just...
Captain Nora signs her name, lets it dry, hands it back to Viola.
When she hands it back to Viola, Viola will reach back behind her armor, grab her journal out, put it back in the journal. Like, flip the journal open, stick it in, close the journal, and put it back.
Good luck.
Thank you, and thank you for signing it.
You have to find your own path. And that is what I'm here to do, is to help you find that path. No more,
Also,
no less.
I apologize for us bombarding you with all this paperwork to sign, and we haven't even asked how you're doing yet. How are you feeling?
I'm fine. But you are right, before we get too lost in other matters. Where's Snow? Because there are things we do need to discuss, including an actual debriefing of your first assignment, as there seem to be some lingering effects.
Snow?
Is the tea done?
Yeah, it's gonna start to kind of, the water's boiling and you're ready to get those tea leaves steeped.
Alright, well, he'll come out when the tea's done.
Okay.
Also, Viola and now Ste'yn have both hollered Snow's name. I don't know if he's listening or maybe he just doesn't care.
Nora will ask
I
if
don't
you
know
step outside.
if he's heard it or not.
The way they were yelling, you probably heard your name twice. Nub's emissaries kind of start to break off and go look. So Vaughn stays. Bria heads to the back door. Moonridge makes his way to the dining room, and Rochelle starts heading towards the kitchen, to which Snow, you'll see the door open, and like you look at normal height expecting to see someone, and then like at least 2 feet below standard is you see Rochelle step in her gliding manner, and she just looks. She sees the cups, sees the tea kettle, looks back at you.
Would you like to give me a hand with the tea?
She nods her head. Certainly. And she'll, in her gliding way, go over. Little her will like hold out a tray and ready to take these cups, and whatever you give her, she'll make her way back out.
Alright, when we have all of the cups, Snow will specifically be the one to hand tea to Captain Nora, and
Which
he
she
will
smiles
ask
at
her,
when she sees you. There you are.
Captain, I have a question for you, and that is, what is your favorite flavor of tea, if it's not this?
In all honesty, I don't drink very much tea.
Well, what's your favorite flavor of drink in general? Have a hot drink.
Those floral flavors tend to be nice, I suppose. Hibiscus-esque.
He'll wave his hand over the tea and use prestidigitation to flavor it hibiscus.
Thank you. So you all are served tea either from Snow or from this tiny gnome. Rochelle going about.
Snow is not drinking tea, by the way. He's still just
Okay.
pacing the room,
Are
making
any of
laps.
you drinking it? Are any of you drinking any of the tea? No one's having tea? Lame.
And Beau didn't have it
Very
back
rude.
at the keep either,
That's
so.
true. Snow's not having
Ste'yn will
any.
try some of the tea since Snow put the effort in to make it.
Lovely. And Viola, you're not having any.
Mm-mm.
Who's
If the
left
cup was
then?
offered
just-
to her, she would have taken it. She's just not drinking it.
You're just sitting there holding it. It gets really warm in your hands, like the saucer. Until you put it down, it'll just keep warming. It can't get hot enough to burn you, but it is very warm, unnaturally so.
Nora starts to bring it to her lips. Ste'yn will go ahead and sip some.
Is she moving a mask to sip some?
She is. She's trying to get back on Snow's good
Yeah.
side.
Captain Nora pauses for a moment, lowers the teacup. Snow, where did you fetch this from?
Your kitchen.
She puts the teacup down, and she looks over at the emissaries and over to all of you, and she very apologetically kind of gives the motion to you. Go, maybe hold off on that. Has
Was
Ste'yn
it
already
poison?
had a sip?
Probably.
Lovely. No, it's not poison. Probably more energy than you need at the moment. As I said, I'm not much of a tea drinker. The only tea that would be in here would be the one I got from Seika's Keep. And that is rather specific.
Oh,
Me.
go on.
Well, anyway, I don't
We had
think we
more
need to
important
keep
matters
talking
to
about
discuss.
tea.
As they talk over each other to end the conversation. Yes, precisely. Quite all right. And Rochelle stands and kind of starts collecting the cups back onto the tray as Nora continues. We need to debrief from your first mission, your first assignment. It's clearly important to do so, and it is standard protocol. So if you don't mind, walk me through what happened. So first and foremost, as from what I recall that you've told me so far, as I understand it, you met with Promugol and Kalain, and you received your assignment and directions to the old outpost, Undra. As it seems, there was no love lost there, but you arrived, prepared to wait out your allotted time, and it was that same evening that you discovered this underground place. Vaughn steps in. How exactly did you find this underground place anyway?
Didn't we tell you this already?
Details is what we're looking for now. This is an official debrief. How did you suddenly find this place?
Don't remember which one of us noticed it, but there was just like some old rickety pieces of furniture, I think, and like a sheet that were covering the entrance. And when we inspected it more closely, there was a bunch of rocks piled up blocking the entrance. And so we moved the rocks and walked down the steps. Well, not all of us walked down the steps, but we all went down there.
So it was just standing there waiting for you. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Yes.
He shakes his head, and Nora continues from there. And then, once you had discovered this, you said you found various items and some writing in front. That's correct?
Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
Do you still have those items and the pages with the writing?
I think Viola had one of the pages. I don't know if she
Yeah,
gave
she
it
only
to
had
anybody.
one, and she gave it to Moonridge, but I believe he gave it back to her.
Okay, so then
We
she
showed
would-
one of those writings to Moonridge. I think you were there as well. The items, I don't think we still have the items. The biggest item was the crown, and that was delivered to Seika's Keep and dealt with there.
But there were other.
No has the infernal tracings.
Does he offer them when they're asked for?
Viola offers
Okay.
the
He
one
is.
that she
He
has.
sits down on the floor, like against the wall.
She'll take the one from Viola. I hope it's all right, but we'll hold on to this. I think it could be of great help to the gods' investigation.
Oh, I
Right.
also took Snow's water skin that had a bunch of blood in it. I gave it back
Oh,
to
that's
Snow,
nuts.
but I'm guessing he still has it.
Did you tell her about the blood the first time round?
I don't know, because we didn't go into step-by-step details. Catherine
Right.
just said that Ste'yn told her everything.
So yeah,
That everything
would
that
include the
Ste'yn
blood.
knows.
So, and at that point, you would have had the blood because you had taken it from.
Yeah.
So she'll ask again if you still have the items that you had taken.
We
We
took
took the crown to Saker's Keep.
Which actually, speaking of that, they're trying to sell it now. I feel like we deserve a cut.
Oh,
What? We went through the effort of getting it. They didn't do anything.
True.
Vaughn chimes in there. And yes, speaking of, what possessed you to think removing anything from some fiendish-looking temple was a wise idea?
we were best suited to take it out of there and keep it from falling into worse hands by trying to safely bring it to or give it to someone when they came to relieve us. We did the best actions we
Apparently-
could given the situation we fell into.
To
Well,
remove
apparently it was
something-
talking to some people, so clearly it wasn't a very good crown.
All the more so, you thought it was a good idea to take it out?
Well, here's the
I
thing.
didn't think that. It wasn't my idea.
It had some
But
kind
you
of
didn't.
it had some kind of barrier on it. It became necessary to remove said barrier, so we didn't think it wise to leave it.
What would you have had us do, Vaughn?
Have you sit and wait for your assignment to end. It would take you more than a few hours, and you would have been collected.
We were told we had 2 days by Kamugo, not the one that apparently it was supposed to be. To think that we were going to sit there for 2 days and wait and wonder about what was going on down there.
Right.
We took the artifact out of its cabin, sealed the entrance, and hoped for the best.
Also, I will note, we at least waited until the next day to touch the crown. We didn't touch it as soon as we saw it, I think,
Vaughn shakes
if
his
I'm
head.
remembering correctly.
If you
No,
left
we got
it
out of there.
alone, then we'd have our guards taking care of it, and not novices.
Okay, Mr. Vaughn, maybe you should check out the assignments that you
Nora
give to your
holds her hand
novices a little bit better.
Wait, please. Everyone, take a moment. And that includes you, Vaughn. Let's stay on course, shall we? So, you, as you've indicated now, were mostly concerned about this crown.
Yes.
And as I recall, you couldn't seem to agree on who ought to handle this crown after it became available, this barrier broken.
Yes.
So help me understand then. How did it get back to the city? How did it wind up in Seika's Keep? Where was it?
Viola points at Snow.
Snow isn't looking up. He's actually got the letter from Terran out and he's rereading it.
In a feat of valor, Snow disguised the crown and was able to get it safely to Seika's Keep without it causing any further harm or any further injury. Or possible injury. No one was injured by it. He kept it safe when others couldn't and got it in the hands that it needed to be into.
Nora is looking at Snow, who is not looking up, and the rest of you can see her kind of very slowly shake her head. I wish you hadn't put yourself in that type of danger, whatever it might have been. But I understand that these were unusual circumstances. All right, this will be good for she shakes her head for a moment. This will be good for the guard to know, as they will be the ones further investigating Undra. So you do not need to concern yourself with it further, hopefully. We certainly won't send anyone anywhere that we feel might even potentially be a danger in that regard. It was never intended that that be something you had to handle on your first assignment. It was meant to be no more than an opportunity to learn a little patience, a little bonding with your fellow novices, and it did not quite go as I had anticipated. For that, I do apologize.
There's no apology needed. It was not foreseen by anyone, nor do I think it could have been foreseen. I think we all were instructed or acted in the ways that we felt were best for the time.
And then you hear a knock on the door, and the door opens without answering. It is unlocked at this time. You see 2 familiar faces walking in. One is one of the acolytes that you had been concerned with his jolly beard and bulbous nose walking in. You see Aglin, and right behind him, you see the shaven-headed head celebrant, Gowaro, walking in. Captain Nora stands when they arrive. One hand is resting on the arm of the sofa, before she then gestures for them to come in. Aglin looks at everyone. Oh, I see you've started the party without us. Saying that we only have to step out for a minute, speaking to some of the Peace Watch and getting a few things handled. Captain, how are you? I see you're up and about. To which Captain Nora bows a little and repeats that she's fine. As they approach, Gowaro looks at you all. So long as I'm not interrupting your debrief, I believe you said you had to do with your novices. There were a few questions that we had just to tidy up a few things that had taken place this morning, and I was going to check back in on you, Captain. Captain Nora kind of has an almost pained look as she's going back and forth between the 4 of you and the acolytes back to the 4 of you. She offers her chair to the newcomers, who politely refuse, and then she sits again. She allows them to speak. Gowaro mainly looks towards you, Ste'yn, with another nod. In case it wasn't clear, there was a crown, something found on this assignment that they were on, and Nora nods that she understands that this part was already made. He said, very good. He asks you for, what was the reason that you had come back to Seika's Keep this morning?
Duel,
We
dear.
wanted to confirm that the crown had been taken care of appropriately. You can understand something that seems so strongly enticing, so strongly cursed. We wanted to make sure it was properly handled, and I wanted to sleep outside again, so I did that too.
Always been something you've done.
Yes, sir.
The air so fresh helps clear the mind.
Yes, sir.
So you were checking on the status of the crown, that it had
Yes,
been
sir.
taken care of.
Just following up.
I see. And this confrontation that began, how did that come about with those men in the Peace Watch Guard?
Then we'll look around for a sec to see if any of the other three are going to speak up.
Viola looks at Beau.
Beau shrugs.
Right. Well, as we walked in Saker's Keep that morning, reunited with our friends this morning, we wanted to see the crown, and we were informed by Jeremy that it was going to be sold, picked up by Peace Watchmen soon. We didn't think they'd be quite that soon. So when they arrived, we hadn't yet been able to confirm with anyone that it had been properly taken care of, and we didn't want it to fall into the wrong hands or be part of something larger. So Beau created a bit of a distraction and went inside, barricaded himself inside. I told the Peace Watchmen where the back door was, and then we all went inside, and I don't know entirely what happened between Beau and the Peace Watchmen in the hall until Viola and I walked up a few moments later, and the fighting had already begun. We did try to stop things peacefully, verbally. There's no intention of causing harm beyond defending ourselves when we were forced to. They were intent on taking us out as we were intent on keeping them from doing things they shouldn't.
Is it a matter that you do not trust the Peace Watch?
We had been given reason to have some concerns about some of the Peace Watch, given what our friend Beau described had happened the night before. I'm sure you probably spoke to Canyon. He came up there at the end. He probably told about some of what had occurred.
Indeed. And although you say, which one of you is Snow?
The one with the white hair, Snow.
I see. He looks over towards Snow and again nods his head. Well, Snow, it appears that your inclinations may have been actually quite on point. And he looks back to the others.
Oh, it's so good.
Did they?
Because someone gave his name as Snow.
Did they tell you what their intentions were? At any point?
As far as I recall, they didn't share intentions by the time. We were hoping to speak with them after they were no longer a threat and understand exactly what those intentions were. Beau may have heard something in his earlier altercation. In his altercation with them in that hallway before we walked up, but I did not hear any intention.
I think they said something about having an important job or important task, if I'm remembering correctly.
They might have. I thought that was part of their cover, trying to sound important.
Very well could have been both. Alas, I was simply curious. Sometimes when you have too much pride about yourself, you can be quite open with what your intentions are, whether you should or shouldn't. And I wondered if they had let anything slip. I also wonder, if you can help me, did they appear to know the properties of the crown itself, beyond simply its gold value?
Well, that wasn't
Not that I
clear.
can recall.
But what was the gold value?
A fair bit. That's why we intend to sell it to Daily.
Yes, and how much will the people that obtain the crown get for that?
Oh,
That is a decision I do not get to make.
Does head something mean nothing?
It isn't my crown.
Whose is it?
This will be a matter for Lady Poppy Hinta and for the Royal Ambassador himself.
That's the amount that's getting paid, or whether or not we get the money.
Both, although I would not quite hold your breath to receive something.
Well, the keep is planning on receiving something, right?
It's not for us, no.
Okay, well, who's getting the money at the end?
The city.
Who is treasurer of the city? Keeper of coin, whatever you want to call it. Who does it?
This all takes place. in
Show me the man.
If you'd like to go there at some point and discuss it, you're more than welcome to. But that is beyond my jurisdiction. I simply was handing off the crown because the crown had come into my possession.
Yes,
Beyond
to take
that?
evil stuff off of it, not to sell.
The selling was already discussed.
With who?
It's not to me, with those in the command offices. Once I had something that was no more than, well, gold, that's not something I need to concern myself with. Saker's Keep does fine. We do fine by the generosity of the city itself. So the city will handle matters of this.
But yet, when I
take it
just...
out of my hands.
But when I mentioned getting paid for helping back there, you said there was nothing.
Nothing that we can give, certainly.
You just said that you get plenty from the city.
For basic needs.
Beau, just give up.
He told you where to go if you want to talk about it more.
He's just
This
staring
is
him
the answer he
down.
has, and he's looking back at you.
Did you have any more questions we could try and answer?
We're getting shafted.
I should ask if you have any questions.
I don't think Beau has any questions. I don't either.
I have many questions.
It appears he has many questions. I don't know if I will be the one most capable of answering them, however.
I don't know if there are any people who can answer many of Beau's questions.
Well, there are other questions. Perhaps we could sit and talk it.
I
You are
think
welcome to take a
actually-
seat at any time.
He does have quite a few questions about Dual Deer, and he would love to talk to you about him sometime. He's mentioned him quite a few times.
A follower. Well, we do have a space for him to pray, and of course we have spaces for him to speak to us.
The
And
people that were detained, where are they now?
They are currently with the Peace Watch. They are at the command office in the detainment.
Have they been questioned yet?
Only brief questions, but anything further will probably be happening over there. I'm curious myself, as the items that they had about them, most of them seem quite normal, and others seem to have a touch of magic about them. That's always interesting to know.
So are we done on this matter?
I think I've had my questions answered. I wanted to make sure that everything was all right and that my suspicions were correct, that, well, the four of you have done a great service for us, and we are incredibly grateful.
Yes, so grateful.
It's what we're here to do. And we are grateful to have the opportunities to use the skills we have for what is good.
He nods his head. He motions to Aglin. Aglin also nods. He looks over to Captain Nora. Make sure while you're still up, tea. And then the two of them bid you all farewell.
On our next tale.
Before you go, I have a few questions.
Ste'yn, can you just make me a charisma saving throw?
That's a 8.
Want to see if I can try and check for Beau is if he's ever encountered some kind of blood booby trap thing.
Snow turns around and walks out the front door.
We asked her to come. It was at our request.
Give me a deception roll.
No,
Can
that's
we roll
a
high?
2.
Know if you can hear this, we're looking for you, and we don't appreciate this.
He's going to look for any place in the rally district where he might find children.
I've gotten my brother's blessing to take up that offer if it still stands.
Can I question them?
Ooh, that's unofficial.
No, you
Oh.
can't kill him.
Well, you will make sure that doesn't happen now, won't you?
As he starts to grin, something in his demeanor changes.
Before we leave, don't we have to have these guys sign a piece of paper?
Oh,
Oh,
oh, Canyon!
Oh, Canyon!